Welcome to Accelerated Engineering. My name is John, and today I'm going to look at how to build a function that performs a rotation operation on a text string, and I'm going to use a recursive lambda in order to do that. So to set this up, first of all, what is a rotation? I'm going to look at doing a right rotate. Rotation is usually used when manipulating binary values, typically. And what it means is that you take all of the bits and then shift them to the right and take whatever on the rightmost side and flip it around to the front. So in this case, that would be right rotate 1. This would be right rotate 2. If Excel let me lead with the 0, that would be nice, etc. And if I rotate it again, oops, I can rotate it all the way around, but Excel doesn't like the leading zeros, so let's take a look. I could also do this with a text string. For example, the input message, if I rotated it 1, would be equal to emessage, like that. Okay, so I would like to start with this value. And I know that I need a lambda function to do this because one of the situations that I'm worried about is it's actually relatively easy to write a function that chops a chunk off of your input text and shifts it around to the front. You can do that using the right and left functions. In fact, I'll actually do that. I'll actually show how easy that is. Say that this equals the right part of the input message, 1 character, ANDed with the left part of that input message, but all the characters of that would be the length of the input message minus 1. What it does is it takes all but 1 character and shifts it on the end. And see, that's perfectly output. So that's good. I'm going to hang on to that. That's going to be a piece of information that I need later. Let's get a lambda going. Lambda. I'm going to say that the only parameter is the input message, and then the number of rotations, quantity of rotations, degree, I'm going to say degree of rotation. Degree of rotation. Okay. I'll just get this initialized using using a dummy value. And what I want to feed it for now is message, and I'm going to say that this needs to rotate 4 times, because that'll be immediately obvious if it works. It spits out 1, shows that I've initiated this correctly. Okay. The main body of this will be an if function. And as always, what I need is the exit condition. I'm going to set this up so that there's a do something and a do nothing portion of this if. Okay. I think my exit, the way I think I can do this is by taking my degree of rotation and decrementing it every time I loop through here, because my do something section is going to have a function call, a recursive function call, so it's going to call its own function again. So my exit condition is going to be if the degree of rotation is less than or equal to 0. Okay, if it is less than or equal to 0, I don't want it to rotate. I'm not going to accept a negative number for degrees of rotation in this case. So if it's less than or equal to 0, I'm going to do nothing. If I'm doing nothing, then the correct thing to return is just the input message all over again. That's that makes sense. I haven't done any manipulation to it. If the degree of rotation is 0, do no manipulation and just return the input message. What about this do something? Well, I know that I'm going to need to have this function called, which I'm going to call, oh right, there's the one that I did already. I'm going to call it rotate to the right, capitalize right. And I need to feed it something because I want to perform that rotation again. The value that I want to feed it, well, I need to give it an input message and a degree of rotation because that's how I've set this up. So my degree of rotation is going to be whatever it was before, -1. And for my rotate to the right, my input message to this next one, well, it'll be the same as what we did in the cell immediately above this, where we chop one character off and shift it around to the front. So I'm going to say that this is equal to the rightmost character of the input message, 1 character, and the left-hand part of the input message equal to the length of the input message -1. So I'm taking 1 character off. Okay, let's just check. Rotate to the right, my parentheses are closed. I've got the right function there and a left function there. That all looks good. That's all the output of the function. Let's close it off and see if I get my name error. Oh, what's this? It's actually given me, oh, of course. Does that make sense? That doesn't make any sense. So what I think it's doing is it's just evaluating that this whole chunk is broken. It's going to have an error there. And I think what that means is that then it's just going to return my false value. So let's turn this into a function called rotate to the right and see if that fixes it. Rotate to the right. Input all that. Close. Right. Value error because obviously it can't do anything. It doesn't do anything. Of course, here's my error. I've just been silly. My degree of rotation is less than or equal to 0. Of course, if it's 4, that's false, and it's just returning the input message and not even evaluating this center chunk. I've just done my logic backwards, which means that either I could flip my true portion of the if statement with the false portion of the if statement, or I can change the direction of this inequality and say if my degree of rotation is greater than or equal to 0. And there's a first rotation. And if I plug this into the name manager, rotate to the right. There we go. That should rotate as many times as it likes. And I rotated it once more here. Let's just test that on a rotate to the right. We'll just test it on this one and rotate it 1 degree. Does it work? Interesting. It rotates it twice. Because we have the case where less than or equal to 0. Less than or equal to 0 is the issue. So when this is 0, it still rotates 1 more. So what I actually need is for this to be less than or equal to 1, perform the last rotation, and then it would be done. We'll just grab that. See, troubleshooting functions is, in a logical manner, is always part of this process. Trying to get it to work and trying to just troubleshoot what you've glitched on. So there we go. That performs correctly. Rotate 2, rotate 3. Beautiful. Rotate to the right is working perfectly. Now that should make it much, much easier to take this whole thing and redo it to rotate to the left, which we're going to do quickly. If I change this to a rotate to the left, then I want this to be backwards. So I'm going to take the leftmost character of the input message 1 and append it onto the right hand side with the input message length, input message -1. And this is still exactly backwards because I need to take the left character and put it over here on the right. Just make sure I've got that right. I got that correct, pardon me. Goes there. Remove that ampersand. Degree greater than or equal to 1, because that's been working perfectly. Everything else should stay the same. Done. Name error because I haven't named it yet, or haven't put this into the name manager. New rotate to the left. Close that off, and there we go. It looks like it's rotating multiple positions to the left instead. Oops, I'll do it instead here. Well, this has been rotated to the right 3 times, so let's rotate it to the left 3 times and see if I get my original message. Check it out. Perfect. This will be very useful because this is a function that I'm going to need to use later when I'm trying to get my SHA-256 hash working. That's a problem for another time. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Drop me a like and a comment if you found this useful. Thanks.